Hi friends, it's Maddie and welcome back to my channel. Today is episode 2 of Melanated Minds, which is my 6th episode mini-series where I talk about different aspects of mental health, specifically for Black women. Like I said in the previous video, my target audience is for Black women. But if you are not, stay, watch the video. Hopefully you learn something. Hopefully you take something with you and you can grow as a person. So today's topic is my mental health and my struggles as a person. I myself identify as a Black woman, and yeah. Okay, so before we get into the video, quick disclaimer, I just want to give trigger warnings for suicide, childhood trauma, PTSD, anxiety, all of that. So if you're sensitive to any of that stuff, I suggest you click off the video. Good. Everyone, okay, if you're here, you're here. If you're not, you know. Okay, so I guess I'll give you guys a background, my background. I'm a Black woman, of course. I think the latest memory I can have of like knowing that something was wrong with me was probably when I was 8. Last summer, I was diagnosed professionally by my therapist with PTSD or CPTSD. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder and CPTSD is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I will explain those more into the video, later into the video. There's a lot of drug abuse and alcohol use in my family, which I've been very exposed to. And also, early in the year, I was in the hospital for suicidal ideation. And it was a weird time. I can say that the most. So, I guess the first thing I want to talk about is where I think my mental health is. And, my issues stem from. Like I said, I have PTSD or complex PTSD. And PTSD is a traumatic event that greatly impacts a person. It can cause flashbacks, kind of make the person act as if they're back into, And then complex PTSD is multiple traumatic events happening in a short amount of time or over a period of time. And I would be in the category of CPTSD, but PTSD is just an umbrella term that's used. Now my PTSD stems from a lot of childhood trauma I went through from the ages of 8 to probably 13. I'm currently 18, by the way. A lot of that stuff was like my mom's drinking. She drank really heavily. She doesn't anymore. She still drinks, but it's not as bad as it used to be. There would just be nights where she would just turn on her music and play it really loud. And I'm someone who does not like loud noises. That is one of my triggers. It's loud noises and sudden noises. She would drink, and there was just a lot of nights where I spent just crying, just wanting my mom to be my mom. And she wasn't because she was busy drinking. Not only did my trauma cause a significant impact on me still today, it also made me have to grow up very quickly as a person. Because if my mom wasn't there emotionally, then I had to be there emotionally for myself. And I was very scared to talk to other people about it. And I didn't have many friends at the time. So I was just very emotionally... what's the word? Anyways, I just had to take care of myself, but I still take care of myself a lot. I've somewhat healed from it, but at the same time, sometimes I do get triggered by, if I smell alcohol in someone's breath, it triggers me, and it makes me nauseous and sick, and it makes me go into fight or flight mode. Fight or flight mode is one of the, it's like the number one instinct of humans. If we sense danger, we either get ready to fight the danger or go, run away from the danger. And sometimes if I am triggered, then my body can go into fight or flight, and I am just up here all the time. My nerves feel like, they're always on edge. I just feel so exhausted, and I'm constantly in survival mode, and I'm learning how to come down for survival mode and just live and be happy and thrive. My mom is also someone who greatly impacts my well-being and mental health. Like, I live with her still, of course, and just like the flick of a switch can quickly change my mood, and I can start spiraling very quickly. And it's very exhausting because I know the things my brain is telling me is not true, but trying to counteract those thoughts is very, very stressful. And that is sometimes why I just shut down and just want to stay in bed all the time. Now, what comes with PTSD is also anxiety and depression. I struggle with also those two things. My anxiety is more so like social anxiety, like in social situations, like going to the store, going to go get coffee, which I love. I love coffee. It just makes me really nervous to be around people, and I'm constantly always thinking of my appearance. Just, thinking of what other people think of me. And that also stems from my mom, because she was very critical of me and still is, as who I am, of a person, what I do, what I wear. And it's just very exhausting to have a critical voice in your head always telling you like negative things about yourself. And then my depression. My depression is like, I'm always like, with PTSD, it's like a flat line. This is where you're supposed to be in your mood. I'm down here. So I'm just always in a funk. Sometimes there's lows, sometimes there's highs. And with my therapist for about a year and a half now, I've been working with them to break those thoughts through different techniques. It still is really hard for me some days. And like, especially lately, I've been going through it. But I also think that is because I have not been on top of my medications. Yes, I take medications. Let's talk about that. Medications is different for everyone. When I first started therapy, I told my therapist after like the first few sessions, I am open to anything to make just struggling and my lows go away. So at first, I was on Prozac. That's the SSI. It's supposed to regulate your serotonin levels, and it was good. Like, when I first started, it was really good for the first few weeks. I felt really up here, and then we went to here, the normal level of where your serotonin is supposed to be. And that's where it was for a while. And then around, like, let's see, I think it was November, December, I started to notice that I was becoming very numb to my feelings. Like, when I was younger, I used to cry a lot about my feelings. That's how I would let it all out. And I noticed, like, I wasn't crying, and, like, I was very numb to things that should have triggered me, or, like, I should have had an emotional reaction, and I was not reacting. And I was like, okay. But when I was younger, this is what I wanted, was to not feel my emotions. But I didn't like it. And then there would just be some weekends I would be crying on and off. I was just very all over the place. And then things got really bad in January of this year, 2022. I went into the hospital for SI, which is suicidal ideation, and I spent 2 weeks in the hospital. I was just very close to, ending my life, which I didn't want to do because I have so many things I want to do in life, but it just seemed like the only way to stop making the feelings I was having stop. But I went into school on January 21st and I talked to Miss Burgos, who is the dean. Shout out to Miss Burgos. It was just a long day that day. But I went in on the 21st and then I left on January 4th. And basically, to talk about my experience in the hospital, you could not have anything. You could not have electronics, you could not have jewelry, you could not have anything. And also because of COVID, you weren't allowed to like walk around and talk to other patients. So I was just in a room for 2 weeks straight, and it was what I needed, but at the same time, it made me feel like I was going crazy. And when you're also in the hospital for psych reasons or SI, you have what is basically a babysitter. Someone who is with you 24/7. And it was fun. It was kind of fun. I spent a lot of time doing arts and crafts and a lot of stuff. And the only person I could have contact with was my mom or legal guardian. And as we know, like I stated earlier, she is not good for my mental health. So I could not talk to my friends who I really relied on for my mental health and who really made me happy and who like made me keep going and was like also one of the reasons why I went into the hospital. So not being able to talk to my friends was really bad, and yeah. And after I left the hospital, I was with my sister. And that was not good for my mental health either. There's just a lot of issues between us, and it made my mental health decline a lot. But it wasn't as bad as when I was with my mom. Yeah. One thing I will say though is when I was since I've been out of the hospital, I've had like people who do know why I was in the hospital. Like if I start to seem like off, ask me if I'm in that state of mind again. And I understand that it is for, because they care or like it's their job, but it's very frustrating because I'm working very hard to not go back into that space, and it's been very hard over the past couple of weeks. And it's just discouraging for people to think I don't want to say weak, but I'm going to say weak, to just go straight to that headspace. Another thing I want to add on for when I was in the hospital was that there's very limited beds for, because I was supposed to go to outpatient where I would receive the proper care I needed, but certain things happened and I was not able to go. So that's why I was there for 2 weeks, and there's only so much a hospital can do. Hospitals are supposed to better health. They're not for mental health, which really sucks, and it was very frustrating because all I could do was color, watch TV, and I would have psychiatrists come in and just evaluate me. And it's very frustrating some days to be like, I want to go home, or I just want to get out of here. I need to do something. It was very frustrating some days. But I understand why, and now that I'm looking back on it, I really did need that 2 weeks. But I just want to talk about what led me going to the hospital. I was in a very weird headspace, and like I said before, okay. So I was on Prozac at the time before I went to the hospital, and during most of my stay in the hospital. But I also wasn't taking them because of how I was feeling numb to them. So in the hospital, they changed me to Zoloft or sertraline, which is a different SSI. And I've been doing pretty okay with that. A week before I went into the hospital, me and my friends, we did some OUID. And I was like to one of my friends, hey, you want to go out to eat? And we were choosing between Olive Garden and Applebee's. And ultimately, we chose Applebee's. I mean, Olive Garden. long story short, my meal was horrible. My friend had a great meal. There was good, but mine was really bad. And it just ruined my mood completely. And I went home, and for like the past few months, me and my sister were having problems with each other, and we were just not on the same page with each other. And she was texting me about something, and I was like, when I got home, by the way, she does not live with me, she was just visiting. I was like, stop texting my number, and drop my number. And she called me the B word. And next thing I know, we're just fighting, like physically fighting. I put my hands on her first. Yes, I don't care. Yeah. And yeah, it was just, yeah. I'm not someone who gets physical very rarely. So yeah, I would just like to say that our Olive Garden was my downfall. And then the week at school, we were in the middle of a SPA. And that week was very blurred. I know I was drinking. I was drinking whiskey. I was like leaving school early most days. Yeah, it was just, and I know you would think because of my trauma, I would not like alcohol at all. But yeah, I was drinking because I just wanted to feel anything else but sad, and it was just a weird time. But the suicidal thoughts were getting very bad, so I talked to my my guidance counselor, and we had a conversation with the best team, and the rest is history. Now, as how I am doing now currently as of May 2022, which it's been about 3 months, 4. I was doing pretty good when I came out the hospital. I was energized, I was recharged. And I don't know if it's just my senior year, but I am struggling again with my mental health, but it's not where I feel suicidal again. And I want people to understand that, because that's what a lot of people think in my life, and it's very frustrating, like I said before. I am doing good. I'm working on focusing more on my future, not the past, or like just focusing on the negative. I'm working to make my future better and to make myself happy, because that's what I want ultimately, is to be happy. And I know not every day can be sunshine and rainbows, but I've just been so sad, depressed, and just in the comfort of sadness that I'm tired of it. And I'm just ready to turn a new leaf. I will be graduating soon, promise soon. There's just a lot of good things to come. And I really want to thank my friends, especially Julia, Aria, and Missouri. Those 3 people, I can't explain how much they've helped me get through this school year. Like, I don't know where I would be. I really don't. Like, they really just made things seem like it wasn't the end of the world. And they were there for me. Like, I wasn't really supposed to be on my phone. Well, I didn't have my phone, but I was able to contact them in the hospital. And it really just made me feel not so alone. They really did help me. And I'm so, so very grateful. Like, I don't ever see them not in my life. And I just love them so very much. Like, I don't think they understand that they saved me. But yeah, being in the hospital, one of my number one things was I need to see my friends. I need my friends. And when I was able to contact them, it really did help me. I think that's all for now of what I want to share. And I really do hope I helped some people. Like, I know I didn't give a lot of like ways to help, but I just wanted to talk and share my story and where I come from, and like just my background. And I know some days can seem really tough, believe me, I know. But just find people who make you happy in life, and if not, if you can, go stay at a hospital for a bit and just take time to yourself, or like reach out to a therapist. You can call the suicide hotline. And I know it seems very intimidating, but they don't just answer if you are in crisis. If you just want someone to talk to, you can just talk to them. You can talk to the best team if you are in crisis. Like, there's so many resources out there just so you can talk to someone. And I really do recommend talking, because talking can help so much. So that is it for today's video. I really hope you guys liked it. If you can relate to anything I said, or if you want to share your personal stories, leave them down in the comments. I love you all so very much. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and have a great day.